Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Kitchen Design Experts, the channel that tells you all you need to know about kitchens, about bedrooms and about home offices. Now then, we've thrown an awful lot at you these last few weeks, and now we're going to include the kitchen sink. I'm going to give you 2 invaluable design tips when thinking about where to position your sink in your new kitchen design. Stay tuned. Okay, we're going to start with a little bit of a history lesson. I'm going to take you back to when I first started to design kitchens back in the early 70s. Sinks then were what we used to call sit-on sinks. They weren't set into a worktop. The worktop actually finished at each end of the sink, and the sink itself sat completely on top of a cupboard. Where we live up in the north of England, we used to come across a lot of bay windows, and the sinks used to be set into those windows and completely fill the space. In fact, the bay windows were actually made to suit the size of a sink. They'd be 42 inches by 21 or 63 inches by 21 inches. The sink was the real workhorse of a fitted kitchen. And at night time, Mr. and Mrs. Client would stand side by side. One would wash and pass the dishes over while the other would dry. It was a nightly ritual at the time. And then along came the dishwasher. Now, I remember when we first started to sell dishwashers, I had the devil's own job trying to persuade people to have one of these newfangled machines. Eventually, yes, of course, they did start to catch on. And nowadays, we never really fit any kitchen without a dishwasher. Now, what happened to the sink? Things changed. The sink was no longer necessarily the focal point of the kitchen for washing pots. It became more a case of food preparation. You'd get sinks that were what we call bowl and a half sinks, where there's a colander in the little half bowl. You could even put a chopping board on top of the main bowl, and you'd chop your carrots and then you'd rinse your carrots and off you went to the hob. So the concept of the sink changed. Now what I'm trying to talk about today is, first of all, which hand of draining board should you have on your sink? Now you might think, oh, I'm left-handed or I'm right-handed and that will dictate which side the draining board goes. Well, no, that's not the case at all. The important thing is you've got to consider food preparation. Most of our clients actually enjoy cooking. They'll either have family round for Sunday dinners or they'll entertain friends. Yes, there are a few that just prick the top of cellophane and bang it in the microwave, but in most cases people enjoy cooking, and food preparation is a massive part of that. So you have to get your food preparation in the right place, and usually you want to prepare your food between the hob and the sink, because then you're not walking too far. You can chop your carrots, wash your carrots, fill the pan with water, put it on the hob. So really what you want to make sure is that the draining board isn't in the way, that the bowl is next to the side where the sink is. That way the whole process of food preparation is made a lot easier, because you're not going from the prep area over the top of the draining board to the bowl and then back again. Now I'm going to show you a design that we did last year, and I'll just talk through what I've just mentioned there about considering prep, bowl and hob, and I hope this should make it a lot clearer. Here we are then. This is the first design. This is actually, then you're aware of, we're looking down on the kitchen. It's what we call a bird's eye view, which I think helps you see the kitchen a little bit better and the available worktop space. Now in this kitchen you can see there's a peninsula, and the ceramic hob is actually on the peninsula, and the peninsula divides the room up into kitchen, dining on the left hand side. The sink is centrally placed under the window. I've just put a few lemons on the draining board so you can see which side the draining board's on at the moment. On the right hand side of the sink it's a run of tall housings which will include the fridge, freezer, the oven and some larder storage. Now this particular client was left-handed, and they said to me, can I have a left-hand drainer sink? So I showed them this. Now you can see that I've also positioned a chopping board where I expect you to do your food prep. And the Mrs. Client is stood there at the preparation space The hob's to the left, the sink's to the right. But you can see that the draining board is in the way. What we want to do is this next plan ideally. Here you can see now we've turned the sink around. It's still central under the window, but now the bowl is adjacent to the preparation area. So all you're doing now is just turning slightly to the right to wash the veg or carrots or whatever it is you're preparing, and then you're turning back to the left to put it on the hob. And similarly, if you consider most of the pan drawers you get in kitchens are positioned under the hob, you just open your pan drawer, get your pan out, turn to the right and fill it with water, and off you go. So without having to move hardly at all, you've got prep, water, hob. It works a treat not having the draining board in the way. And really, now that we're not washing up at sinks, it doesn't matter if you're left-handed or right-handed. The draining board should be on the far side of the hob. That's what we would recommend you do every single time, and you'll get the flow of your kitchen working much, much better. Okay, so I hope you followed that. Now, in most kitchens, the position of the hob almost sets itself. So you can set the hob first where it's best positioned in the kitchen, and then make the sink work with it, make the prep area work with it. So position the hob and then make sure you position the bowl adjacent to the hob with the prep area in the middle. It works every time. Now then, here's another invaluable tip about your sink. Consider offsetting the sink from the window. Shock horror. I have so many, not arguments, discussions with my clients about doing this. And yes, it is a balance between the aesthetics and how it looks and the ergonomics of how it works. And some of our clients are very symmetrically minded and they like things to line up. But unfortunately, if you always work around centering the sink under a window, it sometimes is a disadvantage to the way that you prepare your food. What you can consider, as I say, is offsetting the sink from the window, which will increase the prep space. Let's go back to that design again and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Okay, now you can see what we've done here. We've taken the sink, we've still kept the draining board on the right hand side, so the bowl is still towards the hob, but we've moved it down. In fact, the draining board is under part of the wall. Now, what's happened here is we've increased the worktop space that you use the most, which is the prep area, and we've decreased the worktop space to the right of the drainer, which is the area that you use the least. We're maximising the important worktop space. Okay, now we even have conversations with our clients about not having the sink under the window at all, but having it in front of a wall. It does cause a bit of consternation, that one, but there are major advantages if people are prepared to do it. Now obviously we have to set the wall cupboards up a little bit if it's over a sink, so you're not banging your head on them all the time. But if you bear in mind that you'll spend more time prepping foods than washing pots, why not have the space under the window solely for preparation? A lot of people say to me, oh, I like washing up at the sink in front of the window, but like I said, you'll spend more time doing the prep. So just consider maybe putting the sink under a wall. Radical though it is, when we do it, people are really pleased with the end result. Now sinks themselves, they are changing, they are evolving, and now the sink people themselves realise that the sinks no longer are the main washing up area of the kitchen, and they are indeed mostly now 90% of the time to enable you to prepare foodstuffs. Now draining boards are starting to disappear. You're just getting sink bowls, and if you look at this sink you'll see that there's no draining board and it's geared completely around food preparation. Now this sink is the Franca box sensor sink. Yes, there's no draining board, but it has inserts in it where you can put your chopping boards, you can put your knives, there's colanders you can put there, you can move the chopping boards out of the rack onto the top of the sink bowl. It's all geared around food preparation, and more you'll find sinks going down this line. There are some sinks, I think Blanco do one, where the actual waste bin can be accessed through the top of the sink into the cupboard below. So again, peeling potatoes, rinsing them, put the peelings down the waste chute. Everything is being geared now to food prep. Okay, now I hope you found that useful. Two very important things to remember. Always, if you can, put the draining board away from the hob so the bowl is adjacent to the hob, and consider decentralising your sink from the window to increase the worktop space that you need the most. Remember this when you're designing your kitchen. Speak to your kitchen designer and consider those two invaluable tips. Okay, well that's it for today. If you've got any comments at all, please put them in the comments box below. Any questions you want to ask about design, linked to anything to do with kitchens, we will get back to you. And if you want to see more of our videos, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you'll always be notified when one of our videos actually comes out. Thanks very much for listening. Bye bye.